Everyone, welcome back to Tim's Cotteswold farm. So I've returned from France and the first thing I wanted to do was just come and check this grass field. So over the next 2 weeks, week 1, which I'm going to do this week, but you'll see next week, I'm going to be shearing those rams. And then week 2, I've got something very exciting to share with you. Now, I've wanted one of these for years. We finally bit the bullet back in January, February time. And it took until 5 hours before I went on holiday to arrive. Now there's some tax issues that I still just need to sort because we had to import it, but it is the only one in the UK market. So the company's really excited to see how we get on with it, because then they want to use us as a bit of a case study to then sell it to other farmers. So that's something really exciting coming up. I'm buzzing. I cannot wait to show you what it is. So I'm seeing this for the first time with you. What I was talking about, wildflower mixes and leaving things to set aside and just wilding, this and this is the problem with it. It sounds great, and I agree to a certain extent you can let nature take back over, but actually these aren't wildflowers ready for pollinators to get all their food from. These are just stingers and thistles and nasty stuff, which is now going to cost us an absolute fortune to try and get rid of. I'm actually quite shocked at just how bad this is. I know Dad's asked the agronomist to come down, and we're just going to have to look to see what we can do. I think we need to spray this, and I think we need to roll it because it feels fluffy underfoot. And hopefully we roll it slow enough and with a very light tractor, then we'll be in a position to just compact the ground without making it churned up or damaged. As I say, where it's good, the coverage is actually quite good. I am a bit worried, granted, but as they say, smooth seas never made a seasoned sailor. Maybe they'd be happy to go into the orchard. We'll say this is not how you make a campsite. This week, just so that I didn't miss another week, I've just shown you a couple of small snippets of what happened in France. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you after. So we've just stopped in a small place just outside La Garenne, and there's all these burnt trees. So I just thought I'd show you the extent of the wildfires that they had. And the trees, as you can see from this one, they're actually already starting to regrow. The view is absolutely incredible. We've got our little hire car. Really want to just come back and show you what it looks like. Look at this. Can you imagine this just being ravaged by wildfire? Absolutely crazy. You do wonder how anything like this survives, and yet it seems to. Obviously they had to cut this one off. Look at that, burn right through to the core. And then just from across the bank you can see whether it's controlled burning or what's happened, or whether it's just the way the wind was blowing, the mark that's been charred out by some of the burnt trees. See, the sun's just coming up. It's about 7 AM here. You don't need to see Buy French over here like we have Buy British, because they do. They honestly support their own country first. French cheese, French cars, French wine, anything French, French meat, they will go and buy local first and buy from their own country first. So this morning we're going to go across to a market. Now I'm not sure how happy they'll be about me recording them, so I'm just going to grab some small snippets of what a market looks like, put them all together for you guys just to see a little taster. Just see a little fishing boat over there, which is pretty cool. So we're just going to one of the local markets. One thing the French are really good at is, one, selling their produce direct with markets, but also setting up little pop-up stands actually on their farm. So most of the farms we've driven past have actually got pop-up markets right outside of their own property, and that's reducing their reliance on big supermarkets like Intermarché and Super U. Emma? Baby Hummer inside. It's got cowhide interior, Ford F2. Now I've just found a really small field of grapes. Obviously they're everywhere in the region, but I just pulled off the road to show you guys. Now viticulture is the cultivation and growing of grapes. So they have dinky tractors with little hedge cutters that go between the rows, and they're doing that probably once every couple of weeks because grapes grow really fast. Now these are just bulging with grapes, so presumably they're going to be ready to harvest in August. One thing I've noticed here, we have wildflower mixers at home and we put them in fields, cereal fields, to encourage pollinators. Here there could be say 3 or 4 acres of wheat, and through the center they'll put lavender, and all the bees were flocking to the lavender, and on their way through they're pollinating all of the farmers' crops. Great example of how nature can support farming in this regeneration of what we see farming to be, you know, very much sustainable, focused on working with the environment. Farmers always did that, but I think sometimes the marketing and the advertisement was missing. When you see farmers spraying fields, sometimes that has negative connotations. You'll notice very cleverly Jeremy Clarkson's first series, the one thing he didn't show was spraying. Now we know he was out with the bloodhound, but at the same time it just creates a negative stigma because the public don't fully understand that you do need some sprays. Obviously they mostly use plastic corks these days, but there are exclusive, really expensive bottles of wine that still rely on these trees to produce the cork. And how quickly it takes for that piece to regrow. So obviously they're stripping it off, presumably they've got like a set height that they would do it to.
Yeah. Without killing the tree.
Without killing the tree, and then it would just keep growing back.
Strip bark off like that, otherwise they die, don't they?
Yeah. When we were due to leave, the Marseille air traffic controllers went on strike. So the pilot welcomed all the children and parents up onto the flight deck to have a look. So this is my final piece for you of my French adventure. And we took Edward into the flight deck. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Please give it a big thumbs up. Any comments or questions, I'd love to hear them. And I'll see you next week. Bye.